What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Romans Creative Academy. As always, I'm Jay.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to talk about something that we have implemented into our business when cash doesn't work, creative terms the seller doesn't want to do. So, what do we do with that lead, right?
Absolutely. So this magic third option, we like to call it with our sellers, is something that's made us tens of thousands of dollars, where if we didn't implement this, if we didn't have the education, or if we didn't know how to do it, we would have lost all of that money. And those sellers, we probably would have thrown the lead out, or that seller would have just went with somebody else, or maybe we just never even would have been able to help them, right?
So, what houses really fall underneath this criteria, or what lead? Do you ever have a house that just, like I said, doesn't work for cash? The terms isn't it, and it's completely beautiful, right? So, the seller is asking at a little bit of a discount, but not enough for it to be cash. And what is that?
Correct. And that's called a novation. So with a novation deal, you are basically flipping the house without ever closing on it. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Basically, with a cash deal, you need to buy it at 65 to 70% of its ARV minus repairs. With a terms deal, the seller needs to be okay with either walking away with little to no money or accepting payments over a period of time, or getting their money down the road at a balloon payment. If neither of those work for the seller, you can always talk with them about this third option, which is a novation. I'm going to give you guys some nuggets here with the novation. With a novation, you're just like Jay said, you're looking for a house where the seller may already be looking to move or already has moved, so the house could potentially be vacant or will be vacant soon, right? The house is in an amazing location, or in a good enough location where if you were going to list this property for sale, or if the seller was, it wouldn't sit on the market for 6 months plus. And then lastly, we look for houses with novations, and there's a lot of people who do novations who will, instead of closing on it and then totally gutting and flipping the house, they will do a novation deal and rehab the house to then sell it, so they don't have to bring the cash to buy the house plus the rehab costs. We don't go that route. We don't teach our students to do that. There's too much risk, and we don't do rehabs, like major ones. What we do is we look for houses that are close to turnkey, if not turnkey. And when we explain to the seller how to do this, we explain to them reasons why this route could help them. We explain to them the benefits, such as, they'll be an as-is sale still. They'll be guaranteed their price, maybe not their full price, but close enough to it, right? We'll still pay the closing costs on their behalf, and we'll cover the realtor's commission, as well as any repairs needed by the loan when we put it on the market. And we tell the sellers that we can protect their equity and give them a white glove service where they sit back, they wait for their cash, right? And we handle the rest. And that process looks like this. We go under contract with the seller. We have paperwork put in place, right, for us to be able to find a realtor and list that house on the market with a realtor for an increased price. And at closing, the seller gets the money that we agreed with them upon, and then we get the difference between what we agreed on the seller upon and what we sold it on the market for, minus any closing costs on the seller side and commissions.
And a little tidbit on the side from Novation, because Mike just mentioned we do list it with a realtor. If you've been following what's going on in Pennsylvania, as you may already know, we primarily do a lot of our business in PA, and the laws are changing for wholesalers, and it looks like they're going to be regulating novations down the road. Now, again, this is in our opinion, but if you aren't a part of our newsletter, check the link below. And this week, we'll be talking about how we are pivoting in our business to accommodate these regulations happening, right? At some point in the real estate game, you are going to have to shift, pivot, move, change the way that you run your business. So if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, definitely check that link below. But as Mike said, we use realtors to list them. And then I think one thing that you haven't mentioned is that's important is the days on market, right?
Yep.
We heavily rely on days on market to see whether this is something that, if we put a little bit of work into it, say anywhere from 2 to 5K in, like, and maybe it needs cleaning, maybe it needs, a paint job, a quick paint job, something like that along those lines, that our money isn't tied up for a elongated period of time, right?
Yep, exactly. And I think the one critical piece of information that I left out a couple minutes ago was, how do you guys come up with the price that you're going to offer to your seller for it still to make sense? So everybody knows in the wholesaling world, 65 to 70% minus repairs, especially in, maybe in hotter markets you go a little higher, but not here in PA and in most states anymore at this point. We know that it's that, 60 to 70 cents on the dollar minus repairs. Well, the equation that we use, at least here in Pennsylvania, is your list price, not ARV. What will it be listed for on the market with a realtor, times 80% minus any repairs needed. So I'll give you an example. On our last deal we did, the list price was $159 times 80%, and we had to put I think like $5,000 into it, so a little bit of flooring and some paint minus that, which gave us a maximum allowable offer of somewhere around like 125. Don't quote me on that, I'm just doing it off the top of my head. And we wind up agreeing at 115 with the seller. So you can see, why is there the 80%? Typically, when you put a house on the market, the first 8% of your transaction goes to closing costs and realtor commissions. Anything after that is gravy for you, but we obviously have to build in a little bit of room for ourselves. And then also, that's if it sells at full price. If it doesn't sell at full price, you also got to remember you got to build in your buffer, because your list price can come down, but the price that you'd agreed upon with the seller does not move. So if you got to drop the price, your margin only gets smaller, right? So just remember that.
Now, this is the way that we use novations. Flippers also use novations, but in a different light, in the sense that they, like Mike mentioned, they go in and do the renovations while they have the novation agreement in place. Now, depending on your state, there can be filings that can be put. So say that the seller decides, hey, I don't want to sell anymore after you completed the renovations. Like, there's stuff to protect you there. It just depends on the state. And I'm going to leave that there because that's a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down.
Yep, absolutely. And I would say in terms of location analysis, Jay touched upon the one where it's the days on market. Another thing to look for is, what is the school district like? How close is it to bigger shopping centers? The houses in the neighborhood, right? How fast, not only was it days on market in terms of listed to sold, but how quick did they go from listed to pending, right? So there's two different days on market, is list to sold. List to pending is very big as well. You need to look into that. You could look at that on Zillow or anywhere, because that'll tell you how quick we think that we could be able to find a buyer in this price bracket. Another thing, you should probably be looking for starter style homes. It could depend on your market, right? If you're doing this in Southern Florida, your houses are $600,000, of course, that's a different story. But here in Pennsylvania, novations work great for starter homes, 250 or below, because that's the biggest buyer pool. So you also need to know your market and your demographic.
Yeah. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. And if you have any questions, please comment them below, or ask us in our website, www.romanscreativeacademy.com/ask, and we will answer them live for you. And you can even hop on our live and meet us. So make sure to ask all of your questions. And yeah.
As always, remember, if you enjoyed this video, remember to hit like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Have a good one.
See you guys.